Hello. You caught me taking a sip of my hot drink. My name's Jenny Kovacs and I'm known as the Queen of Being Seen. I wanted to take this opportunity to do this very impromptu live webinar. And for those of you that have subscribed to my channel, I did tell you and warn you that I would be doing a hell of a lot of webinars this year. There is a reason behind this. I can't disclose it right now, but there is a very good reason behind this. So tonight, I thought I would answer a question that actually has been coming up a lot. I don't know if it's a time of year, you know, new year, new start, new ambitions. I don't know if it's because I am linked very closely to the entrepreneurial community. But what I'm finding is that as people are thinking about their New Year's resolutions, there's two camps of people that are looking to speak more. So there are those people who have their own businesses. They have their own businesses and they need to present what they do. Maybe they're a service-based business, so they almost sell a service or product or something that can't be seen. So they need to be able to let people know about their business. And the other camp are some people who I think are in appraisal mode as well. These are people who are employees, they're really ambitious. Maybe you are looking to be promoted. You would definitely be a manager, a senior manager, or even at the executive or board level. Either way, you know that you need to speak with gravitas and credibility and all sorts of things. So I'm just going to tell you really quickly why I'm even doing this impromptu hangout. And the reason that I'm doing it is because of this, it seems like the world and his wife are talking about speaking. So we've got people that haven't spoken yet and they want to get out there and speak. We've got people who have been speaking a little bit. Maybe they've had one or two kind of speaking gigs, as I like to call them, and they know that they want more. And then we've got people that have been speaking quite a lot, and it's almost like they want to build their business around speaking, whether they are a self-employed person who wants to do this, or whether they are, you know, an employee who wants to speak more, have more influence in meetings, raise their credibility, raise their profile. So what I thought I would do, I've got some notes here. I thought I would just use this opportunity just to answer some of those questions. Now, here's what I'd love you to do. I have, in many different forms, been speaking for, I hate to say this, over a couple of decades, over 20 years. And I started off through training, through having to present corporately, through being an employee. I did that for many years. I had to grab people's attention. I had to sometimes impart really boring information. I worked in the financial services sector in the city, so sometimes my training subjects were dry. And then as I went into entrepreneurial life and into the personal development field, then some of the stuff that I delivered became really juicy. So I've presented them both on the training front, but also as a business owner, as someone that's needed to stand out. And as you can see from the banner, I'm Jenny Kovacs, and the vibe is the visibility vibe. And the reason I call it that is because I want you to get out there and spread your ripples far and wide. So I'm going to crack on and answer some questions that I hope will be really useful for you. Best that I put my cup of tea down first. So I'm going to answer these questions, and there's something that I want to explain. If you're confused about what is this Jenny Kovacs talking about, visibility vibes, and if she's talking about visibility vibes, then what on earth does she mean about speaking more in 2016? So on this very short webinar, I'm just going to go through and show you, wherever you are in the piece, how you can go out there and speak more. But here's what you need to know about visibility. Visibility has nothing to do with sight or high-vis jackets, but has everything to do with how you go out there in the world, your world, whether it's a corporate world, whether it's a business world, or whether it's a student-based world. this is specifically for you. If you know that as a result of your speaking, you need to be able to sell yourself, you need to be able to make an impact, and you want it to be a good impact. So quite often people will say to me, I need to get out there more. So that's like the visibility part comes in when you feel invisible, like no one knows who you are or what you do, and you know that you need to elevate yourself and get out there a bit more. Now, this ties into the speaking, and the reason for that is quite often people fundamentally at all the different layers or levels, regardless of their confidence, will say to me, but I don't know what to say or how to say it. Now, I've heard this from, you know, a client of mine worked at a very well-known marketing company, very successful business, lots of credibility, lots of gravitas, yet when they needed to present themselves, their business, kind of almost to blow their own trumpet, just said, well, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to say it without sounding like I'm being arrogant, got really stuck. And one of the things that people shy away from, whether you like it or not, you're always having to sell yourself, especially if you have your own business or you're working for somebody else's business. If you can't sell yourself and you can't sell their products, their services, you're out of a job. And if you have a business and you can't sell yourself, your value or what you do, then it becomes a real effort to have that business. You go through this stop, start, feast, famine, money, no money, and it just doesn't feel very good inside. Now, the other element of visibility that it's important to know here, and I'm going to answer as many of these questions that I've seen and been given as I can, is that quite often, especially if you're passionate about your subject and you know about your subject, you've got so much knowledge, so much to share, and you're just like, well, where do I start? How do I start imparting that knowledge and teaching other people so that you can share it with them, and the other people that are listening to your knowledge, you know, how do they get to understand it? How do they get to absorb it? How do they take it in? How do they use it? The best way I know, and as an ex-training manager, national training manager for very big companies in financial services, insurance, mortgages, all sorts of companies like that, you need to know how to be able to present, to speak, to share your stuff so that they can understand it, absorb it, and use it. And the whole string that runs through this is your vibe. The vibe is not actually what you do, it's the place that you're coming from. It's almost like the vibe isn't about who you are, but it's about who you be. Who are you on the inside coming out? You know, what vibe are you giving? It's all well and good to say, I want to be really visible as a speaker. I want to get out there. I want to, you know, let everybody know about my product. But where are you actually coming from inside? Are you doing it blatantly because you just want to make money? Are you doing it because you want to manipulate people into something? And quite often, when you're doing it from that place or doing it from a place of fear, people smell it. They don't even feel it. They smell it. If they smell it a mile off, they feel bad, you feel bad. You both part company, and you just feel like you need to have a scrub in a shower. So I'm going to look down and answer some of the questions that came in, because I really believe that here's some things that you can do to help you get out there and start speaking in the way that you want. Now, somebody asked me recently, they said they wanted to speak more in the new year. My thought initially, if I'm honest, was why the new year? Why not just start with where you were? They asked me this last month, so in 2015. So if you have a goal to speak more in 2016, one of the things that many people start off by doing is they start off by thinking that they have to have lots of stuff in place. Now, what's interesting about this is, and I'm just looking at the question, it's quite a long question that they asked, but they're like, oh, have I got to create my profile, my speaker profile? You know, have I got to create my signature talk? How do I use video? And they added in all these questions, which makes it a mammoth task. Now, here's the thing, and I did, you know, I have spoken about this before, but I'm actually going to be doing a series of webinars over tomorrow, and the day after. So if you're now watching this and this is a week old, then have a look for videos about speaking. But basically, the one thing that you need to know, you need to do, you need to be ready to speak more in 2016 is simply just what I said, to be ready. To be ready to say yes. Now, let me give you an example. I've spoken for many years, but I'm always looking at improving how I speak publicly, you know, honing my art, honing my skill. And a really great mentor of mine always encouraged something that I knew fundamentally to be true. If you want to be able to speak, I want you to answer this question right now. You don't have to type it in the box below. You don't have to share it with anybody, but I need you to answer this question. If you want to speak more in 2016, and it is now 2016, and I said to you, okay, come over right now and you can teleport yourself from wherever you are in the world, transport yourself to here, and you could be here right now to speak in front of your ideal audience, 350 people, let's just say. Would you be able to do that right now? If not, why not? What would you have to have ready to be able to take up that opportunity right now? And it's a serious question. I want you to think about this. This is what I mean by being a ready yes. If something happened straight after this webinar and somebody asked me, can you come and speak to my crowd? I've got information that I can send to them so that they understand what I speak about, so that they could introduce me onto the stage if they needed to, so that they could explain to their audience what I speak about, whether that's in web copy or something else. They'd even be able to get a selection of photos from me. Now, if I was also to go and speak right now, I wouldn't know whether they wanted me to use slides or not. So just in case, I have some slides already prepared. I am literally ready to go right now. And don't underestimate the power of this question, because a few years ago, I was running a webinar and people put comments on my Facebook page. And if you are looking at my Facebook page or got some access to that, go to my Facebook page, go to Jenny Kovacs, the Queen of Being Seen, or facebook.com/visibility vibe. Okay, and you'll see the Queen of Being Seen. So I did this webinar and somebody had made a comment and said, oh, that was really great, thank you so much. Do you mind if I speak to my associates about getting you to come and speak at a conference? Now, I was ready and able to say, absolutely, I'd love to find out more about what your audience need to hear, and I'd absolutely love to do it. Now, you might say to yourself, yeah, but that's not straight away. But I was able to say yes because I knew I had everything in place. It meant that after that particular webinar, I could then take one piece of information, you know, who are the people you'd like me to speak to. I could find out either telephone number or email address and send that information out straight away. That meant I was ready to go. There was none of this, oh, give me a couple of weeks or a couple of days and I'll put something together for you. I was ready to go straight away. This is the single most biggest element that people miss out. And even as I was speaking to a lovely client just a few days ago about this, people often think that everything they need are, you know, creating their profiles and creating a signature talk and having beautiful slides, having landing pages, having a lovely website that people can go and have a look at, or having a big social media presence, thousands of followers. But the truth of the matter is, you have to be ready. So if I asked you right now, come and speak right now to this audience of 350 warm, juicy people that you know you could really make a difference to their lives, would you be ready? Okay, so that is actually the answer to my question. You used the phrase that you want to develop speaking in your business. So if that's what you would like to do, that suggests to me that you're not speaking yet. So I would say go and connect, like properly connect and engage with as many people as you can who would be your ideal audience to speak to. start to, if they run nights where they have other speakers, go and listen to those speakers. Go and make sure that the environment and the crowd are your types of people, that the host is your type of person. Make sure that it's somebody that you would want to speak to. So the next question. Oh, somebody was saying that they want to get as many speaking engagements as possible. Now, this is where the vibe comes in. It's all well and good saying, I want to be able to speak lots, but check yourself before you wreck yourself. So deep down, what's that about? Is this a kudos thing? Is it an elevation thing? Is it because you think, well, if I have more speaking gigs booked, then I'm going to be more credible? Is it that you need more speaking gigs because you need more practice? But really check the vibe that you're coming from. And that's not a flippant answer. The reason I suggest that is because if you have got a kind of an air of, well, I just want to go out and be able to say to all my friends, look, I speak everywhere and I do this and I do that. When you're standing in front of that audience, it's that essence of you, it's that energy that they'll connect with. And what you want to be able to do is to be able to connect from a really great place, whether you want to call it service, engagement. You don't want to stand there and bore the pants off everybody because you're thinking to yourself, oh, I've got this speaking gig and I've got 20 more lined up this month. So far better to pace out your speaking gigs and, have even a couple a month, especially if you're new. If you've been doing it for a while and you want to up level that, then why not go back to the people that you've already spoken to or spoken for and ask them who they know who can recommend you. Okay, so I hope that helps. Somebody else has said that they want to make speaking like their main source of income, if you like. So if that's the case, then it looks as if you would need to make your business a speaking-based business. Business doesn't exist. If that's the case and you want to have a speaking-based business, who are you going to get help with that? Now, I have to say, I'm really great with helping people with their framework for speaking. There are good contacts I know. So the person who actually did email me that question, if you watch this video back, please email me again and I'll happily pass on my contacts. There are a couple of people, and it's quite funny. There are two people that I highly recommend. One's based in America. One was based in Australia, but is now in the UK. Thank you. So I looked long and hard to find out who could help me with that. And I couldn't find people, many people in the UK that I resonated with, I had an affinity with. There are all sorts of people out there that will teach you all sorts of things. So if that's something that you want to do, is your business model set up for you to be able to speak? Because of course, if you want to base your business around speaking, you're going to be traveling a hell of a lot. Is that something you want to do? Or do you want to spend time with friends and family? If you're basing your business around speaking, you need to know how to speak and engage that audience, not only to really take on board what you're saying, but also how are you going to make your money from that? How are you going to increase your visibility? Have you maybe written a book, or have you got something that you can sell? Are the speaking gigs that you're looking for, are they ones where you are allowed to sell even? So you need to kind of have the next plan of how you want to do that. That's one of the best ways to, to make it real. So another question, it's very similar to the last one actually. This is a really funny one. So I was telling you about a very successful client of mine who said, I want to speak more, but I don't actually know what to say or how to say it. And this is something that I hear from a lot of people. So on this particular question, it's a little bit similar to that, I guess. They're at the stage of wondering what to speak about. Now, this is a bit of a how long is a piece of string question, but let me answer it as best I can with the information I've got. If you are self-employed or a business owner, my suggestion is that you at least speak about some of the things that you do within your business. If it's a product or service, let the person know how it can help, or let the audience know how it can help in their lives with what they do. If you are an employee, and because of my background in financial services, which, as I say, was in training management, high-level training management, I would frequently present ideas, proposals, and just get involved generally in meetings at board level. I'd also get involved a lot with sales and marketing teams. It was kind of like, if you can niche yourself as an employee, that was kind of the niche that I sat in: financial services, sales and marketing, high-level management. These people still need help with how to be able to deliver that information, how to be able to present that information. So quite often, if they are in that particular field, there's a way in which, and I'm just making sure I'm not kind of going off course in answering this, but there's a way in which they would need to position what they're speaking about, and just like make that relevant. And how they would pick what they're speaking about could be very, very, it could be very diverse, very different. Interesting. I'm just doing a webinar and someone is trying to call me. Luckily, I remember to have my phone on silent, so I shall let them know I'm doing a webinar. See, I'm just typing, I'm live on a webinar, which also shows you that I'm live. Okay. So sending that off. So yeah, it depends on, like, what do you speak about? If you are part of an organisation, what you speak about is going to be largely dictated by that organisation. Unless you're managing a team and you want to motivate them, which I had the pleasure of running a couple of sales academies and speaking to salespeople in that time. So if that's something that you are doing, you can still speak, influence, make a credible impact in that way. If you have your own business, as I say, you might want to speak about the thing that you're offering in your business. A couple of other scenarios are, you might be an author. If you're an author, it's likely that you want to promote your book. You want to get people to read it. You might be writing another book. You want to tell people about it. That's another really great use of speaking, and one that sometimes the authors shy away from, believing that they're better at writing. But here's my take on this. When you have written a book, it's likely that the words came from in here somewhere, some sort of internal dialogue that came out onto the page. There's absolutely no reason why some of that information can't be taken and used verbally to tell people about your book or your next book, and let them know some of the nuggets that are within that book. If you are somebody that's written, say, a fantasy book or a fictional book, the type of speaking that you do will need to be different, and will probably want to be the sort of speaking that tells people about your book. Okay, so you would be speaking very likely for promotional purposes. Okay, so there is a way of doing that without ramming things down people's throat. So I remember quite a few years ago, I had a gorgeous client who's based in Cardiff, and what she decided to do to launch her book was to do some live readings. So she spoke, she invited people to, to come and listen, and she spoke, and she also read some parts from her book. So even if it's like not a self-help book or non-fictional, you can do that too. Hope that helps and hope that answers. And if you're sort of stuck for questions, there's a couple of things I'd love you to do. I'd love to stay connected with you. So I mentioned the Facebook page before. If you're watching this either live or as a recording through YouTube, I'd urge you to just click on the subscribe button. If you can click on the subscribe button, every time there's some sort of activity on my YouTube channel, it will let you know. It also means that if you want to share something with your communities, you have my full permission to share whichever video you see. Some of the stuff I do is webinars, and some of the stuff I do is just good old-fashioned video, little short nuggets of information. And feel free to comment below. I love reading people's comments and seeing how you use this stuff. I'm also on Twitter. I'm at Gift Wish Ltd, Jenny Kovacs on Twitter at Gift Wish Ltd for Delta. So yeah, feel free to tweet me as well. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick time check. Let's take another question. If you're live, because I can see that there are people that are live and maybe hopping on and off, or if you're able to contact me in any other way, then, you know, ask a question. So I'm just going to check. Just to make sure. I need to see if I can do that from another device. So let's have another question. Funnily enough, I'm going to answer this question because although it's not directly just exclusive to speaking, it's something that ties in nicely with speaking, visibility and all things. And actually today I met some really lovely ladies in London who are all speakers, and the question or the subject that came up between us all was that we've had quite diverse backgrounds. So within each of us, there's a lot of different things that we like to do. And often people think, you know, I just want to be a speaker, but I don't know which thing to choose. So there's kind of like this diversity. Now, this is a bit of a controversial answer because I know that in business, especially very high-ranking marketeers, absolutely tell you to niche down, niche your market. It's true. If you try and speak to everybody, you speak to no one. So, you know, do look at the message that you hone out. But here's where I start to disagree. I don't agree with the advice of if you do lots of things, pick one and stick to it. I don't agree with that at all. And I'm getting tweets in and all sorts of messages now. So thank you. But I don't agree with that. I don't agree that if you do lots of things and you're particularly interested and diverse. I've got a lovely friend who's, you know, a vocal coach. She's great at speaking, but she's got a diverse background. She does a lot of sound therapy. She does a lot of holistic work. She has been, you know, professional masseur, I should say. And, you know, she's also an actress. I don't agree that you should ditch one thing and you know, and do something else. I have a lovely client at the moment who makes really great cakes. She's also a very well-read, you know, been to university and got sort of a psychology degree, so is very well read, and also has worked for many years in the leadership space. So goes into big kind of businesses and works with their leaders. And like I see so many other possibilities for her. She's got lots of interests and lots of things that she can incorporate. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to speak, decide which of the thing your audience needs most, that particular audience, and just pick the one thing for that particular audience. Don't feel like you just have to pick the one thing for life. I find for people that like doing lots of things, it stilts them. And I've got a very dear friend who's doing a lot of research into people that do lots of different things, and look out for an interview in the not too distant future. So I also want to give a shout out to the awesome, gorgeous Jay Kamara, who has been tweeting. So Jay, thank you so much for sharing the love there. I see you tweeting. So I'm saying thank you. And I'm doing this, and I know this looks rude, like I'm not concentrating on you, but I'm doing this because this is an impromptu Q&A, and I want you to know that when I talk about doing a live impromptu Q&A, I want to prove that this isn't a recording. Here's one I prepared earlier that's going out. So I'm just letting her know. I'm shouting you out right now. So the lovely Jay Kamara, if you're on Twitter, just go and say hi to Jay, connect with her. She's at JAYK for kilo, Frederick. That's F for Foxtrot, REDERICK. Go and say hello to her. I've just tweeted her to let her know that I'm shouting her out right now. She'll probably be mortified, but she's pretty cool. And I love her. She's just brilliant. Now, there's a woman with a really, really cool story. It's not the easiest of stories to listen to, but it's a really empowering, inspiring story. So I'm just shouting her out on that. Okay, so I hope that helps. You know, the thing with the question that you asked there about the which one do I pick and that kind of stuff, it's a long question to answer on a short space of time. So that was my quickish answer. Okay. Yeah, interesting. A lot of people say, how do I get known for what I do? Well, it's the visibility thing. It's exactly what I'm about. So whether you're going to speak about it, write about it, you know, kind of blog about it, video about it, you know, webinar about it, however you're going to get your stuff out there, there's 5 very distinct areas to pay attention to. Now, this isn't a blueprint. This isn't a you must do it like me system. There are 5 distinct areas that I have seen help my clients, other people that haven't even been my clients, and myself. Remember I told you about my corporate work in financial services. I was able to progress my career very quickly in the space of 2 years, along with some great like financial rewards, you know, money, remuneration package, nice company car, company credit card. I was able to do that in a very short space of time because I, like people that you see in the public eye, whether they're celebrities, politicians, pop stars, whether they're authors, did different pieces in these 5 areas. And here are the 5 areas. There's raising your visibility. And for some people, that's one of the hardest steps because they've got this thing about getting out there. I might get hurt, or when I've heard that, or somebody might ridicule me, or I don't have a face for webinars, or, you know, I've heard all these sorts of things. But the first thing that you need to look at is raising your profile, raising your visibility. That's the best way to get known, whether it's in the UK, the US, or anywhere. And you'll notice, in fact, if you write down the word vibes with an S on the end, that first piece is a visibility. The next piece, and this will really touch if you're a speaker, is the I. The next piece that you really need to do is know how to make an impact and know how to make a credible impact. And one of the ways of making that credible impact is having a good structure so that you can deliver the information that you need in the time that you need to. The third step is being able to biographically, you know, speak about yourself. Now, this is of paramount importance before you've even accepted the speaking gig. You know, have something that you can send out that talks about what you do. Please don't make it 4 pages long. Make it short, sharp, and succinct so that they get it, so the host booking you, so that when they're sharing it to their audience, that audience get it. And so that people can speak about what you speak about really quickly, really easily, with clarity. Okay. And interestingly enough, at an event that I ran, like a workshop that I ran in 2014, I actually got people started on how to do this in the room because it's that important. Okay, so the next step, so that's vibe. So the first one is V for visibility. Next one is I, to make a really great impact. Some people don't like that word, and maybe leaving a really great impression sits better with you. The third step, which is B, is being able to biographically talk about what you do. And the other underlying piece to that is being able to tell your story or share your story, or even share your stories. Just because you have all these different things that you do, all these different products, doesn't mean that in one speaking gig that you have to talk about all of them. Okay, and so many people think they know how to do this and they don't. They overfill their audience's mind, and the audience then walk off and, hey presto, they're lost. So the fourth step then is your energy. Now, this comes at 2 different levels. One of them is, how do you avoid doing so much that you end up burning out? So how do you segment or structure your week or your day so that you're not burning out? And the other one is energy. It's really the vibe of where you come from. It's the place inside. It's the place that nobody really sees. They can't put a finger on it. They can't point it out to you like this, but it's a place inside where you come from. It's like your essence. Okay. So how do you share that? How do you identify people that want to hear the same thing that you want to share? So there's that as well. And finally, the S, which is on the end of the vibes, is not only how you speak when you're actually there speaking, but how do you speak in your head that gets the word out on the paper, on the blog, on the book, on the white paper, on the social media posts. And the scary bit that people shy away from, how do you sell yourself? Now, you might be selling yourself as you speak, or you might be inviting people to contact you through your website or to phone you. Now, here's something that I've seen rise, and there's no kind of scientific statistical proof behind this, but I've heard it when I've been speaking myself and connecting with people, potential clients, when I've been networking, when I've been talking to my own clients, friends, family. There seems to be more of a fear in this electronic age of people just picking up the phone and talking. And I'm hoping to be able to interview someone really special soon that's going to help you with that. So really, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe and keep coming back. And I'll put a link underneath if you want to be on an email list that notifies you of when these things are coming up, so you can plan your week. And also if you want to hear a little bit more, some like nuggets and some shares to help you with your visibility and to get out there. Okay, so many people are scared of using the phone and they don't know what to say. And then they associate trying to sell their products and services over the phone with that kind of cold calling thing. I mean, let's face it, if you want to start calling people out of the blue, stop calling it cold calling. It sounds awful, it feels awful, and it's not going to make you want to do it. So, stop that. Okay, so that's one of the ways that you would stand out and get known really for what you do. So, yeah, big debate that goes on. To have paid speaking gigs or to have free speaking gigs. Now, I personally, I'm not a keynote speaker. I've got a very good friend who's married to a really awesome athlete who can command a lot of money to be able to speak because of his, Olympic career and all of that kind of stuff. But you know what? A lot of us have come through the mire. Let's just face it. A lot of us have maybe overcome an adversity or, come from kind of just what feels like a normal track. Now, up to you whether you want to charge for your speaking gigs or have them be free. But here's what I have found and here's what I've done. If you want to be a keynote speaker that charges a lot, it's almost as somebody said today that I was speaking to, it's almost like you have to be in an A-list. If you're not, then you have to have something behind that to back it up and to bring the money in. What I advocate, and I've always advocated, and again, this might be slightly controversial, but hey, you're listening to a woman that's got one feather in one ear. One of the things that I advocate is speaking for free and being able to offer the people listening to you a way to take the next step with you, a way to work further with you, but only if they want to. I'm not into forceful, arm twisting, bribing, hypnotic, embedded commands. It's not my style. It might be someone else's style, and that's fine for them, but not great for me. I've always spoken for free. I've, today, even though I've been speaking for nearly 20 years, I've spoken on relatively small stages, and I've spoken to people in a room. I think I turned up at speak to a business networking group once, and there were like 5 people in the room. I enjoy those more intimate gigs because I'm able to then really get under the skin of what the people in the room need. So it's no surprise to find that I share a lot of really useful content with them. And quite often they will pursue me and ask me how they can do more. 9 times out of 10, I can help them. But if I can't, I'm happy to point them in the direction of somebody else that can. And that's the important thing. I don't take on any clients or any speaking gigs or anything that isn't something that I'm passionate about or good at. If not, I'll recommend somebody else. So the final thing just to say is, you know, people are scared of having a structure or having any sort of framework. I just want to show you from a speaking gig that I did in London kind of late last year. That's my speaking gig. Those steps down the side, can you see that acronym? If I hold it like that, it makes it easier to see. Those are 8 steps, well, 7 1/4. There's 7 1/4 steps to help you to build a really great, easy structure. That talk can last me for 10 minutes, or it can last me for a whole day. But I know that I've got the steps to go through step by step. So if this is something that you're interested in, please put a comment underneath this video. And if you're not live and you're listening to the replay, just put a comment underneath that says, yes, Jenny, I'd like a webinar on breaking down those steps so I can start to get out there with a lovely framework and a lovely structure. So, you know, just let me know. And if you put comments under there or on Twitter or on my YouTube channel, then I will surely make sure that I cover them for you. So I've got a lot of people there interacting on Twitter. So that's all that I'm going to cover tonight. That's like 45 minutes gone already of answering questions. If you've got a question that you would like to ask, you can always email me at question@gift-wish.co.uk. So it's the website at the bottom. You know, please email me there, leave a question on my Facebook page, tweet me, or even subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I will answer them in some sort of format. If you would like to be on the list so that you can submit your question in advance, then please do that using one of the mediums that I've just described, and I'll be happy to answer questions on all sorts of things, from, you know, how to get out there in terms of your visibility, how to raise your visibility, how to train others in what you do, or teach or share others in what you do, how to present and how to speak in a way that they listen and they do what you need, and also the vibe that comes from, you know, what's going on inside. Is it nerves? Is it arrogance? Is it, I really need to share this? Is it a desire? Does it feel like a life purpose? Whatever that thing is, I really love to share that. So thank you so much for watching, and I really hope that you have enjoyed this and are enjoying it on the replay. Bye for now, and I'll see you on the next webinar. Bye-bye.